Hi everyone, so this is going to be part one of a tutorial for how we can build straightforward projects that use CSV file reading. Hopefully can build some extra features in here, but this is a very basic example of an IA. So I'm just making up some fake information here, just of codes for users to log in. And their passwords, which, as you can see, very securely saved as plain text. So I'm just going to save that to my desktop. Now, what I've learned from mistakes is it is the best practice to save two copies of the files. Now I'm going to save it as this CSV file here rather than the first one. So I'm going to call that user information and save it. And I'm just going to do the exact same thing again. Save as and call it backup. Now the reason for doing that is the amount of times that I've been testing my file writing, it doesn't work properly. And I've accidentally written over the whole file. So I'm going to close that down. I'm going to hide this. Just close all my folders I've got down. So in NetBeans, you'll see I've got a lot of projects open. Now this is where I will be at an advantage because I probably will write very little new code. You can see I've got, which one's this? The IB syllabus project open here. I will be able to borrow lots of code for that. So what have you got to do when you create this new project? Well, I have my design in front of me of my class structure, layouts. I know what I need to do. I am going to click new on the folder. I want to choose Java and Java application and choose next. And I will just call this grab taxi project. Click finish. Now I haven't made this project yet, so I expect that quite likely I'll make some errors along the way that you will be able to see those types of errors that you might typically make as well. Now you can see on my desktop I've got my two CSV files. I don't want them there. I want to search for NetBeans projects folder. And when we open that, you will see a list of all of the projects I have. So it's in this one, Grab Taxi project. Literally, we want to drag and drop those two files and drop them into there. You can see mine's is just warning me about that particular move. Drag and drop the other one. So I've got the backup in there. Now the reason for that is just to make the file read-write access slightly easier. Being lazy almost. We could have file opening structure and browse and choose the files, but I would rather just cut some corners, save some time. And the very first thing that I'm going to do is on the source packages, I want to click new JFrame form. Now I'm not going to worry about this looking perfect. I'm just going to very quickly make it, and maybe one of the jobs you can do of yours is to make it look a bit more exciting and interesting, user-friendly, colourful, etc., etc., to make it better. Now I'm going to call this one login frame. Click finish, and you can see the first mistake I made. I don't want to put that in the default package. I want to put that in the project, so I'm just going to grab it, drag it to that project folder there and hit refactor. And the reason for that is I right-clicked on source packages. I should have right-clicked on here and choose JFrame form, but no problem. Just for laziness, I'm going to drag this JLabel over here. I'm going to edit the text and call it login form. I will drag some of the elements that we want. So I want a button here that perhaps we will edit the text in there to say login. And I want to change the J button to J button underscore login, which I'll put here. Drag another new button over so that we can trigger new user functionality. And we will change that variable again, J button, new user. Okay, and a couple of things we'll have to have on there. We need to have text field, which I will edit the text and take away everything there, drag it a bit fuller, and I want to change the variable name, text field username. Now again, we could put labels to the side of that there. Edit text, enter username. Let's go for username. And then similarly, another label there. Right click, edit text, password, and I will drag the password field over there. Edit that text just to make it blank when you start up. Drag it, try and keep it similar size so it at least looks semi-reasonable. And right click, change the variable name there to jpassword field, which is okay. Now what do I want to happen here? You can see when I run the project that nothing happens, absolutely nothing happens at all. And that's because GrabTaxi project is the main part that happens. So when the main part executes, I want to put this code, and you'll get used to typing this because it's the same each time. So I'll create a new instance of the login frame that I've just been working on, which I'll call LF. I want to do lf.set location relative to null, and I'll show you why that is in a second, and lf.set visible true. So you can see nothing running. Now when I hit the play button to build it, execute it, we get the Java application down here. That eventually loads up, and you can see that mainframe where we can type in a username and the password field as restricted view, and we have two clickable buttons that don't do anything. X button quits the whole program, and that's the last little bit of default I'm going to do on the login frame. You can actually right click and go to the properties, and you'll see the very first operation on the top, default close operation. I like to put them all to dispose, or you could in fact choose do nothing and close, and rather than have that one running, so I'll demonstrate that in a second, have a final button here. You can always add more if you need them, not necessarily the final button. Edit the text to an X. I'm going to change the video name, jbutton underscore exit. Good naming conventions will really help us. This will also help us to abstract our code, because you can double click on your buttons and it will generate automatically the code that handles that action event of a user clicking on it. So we can say system.exit 0. You could have an option pane popping up there asking the user if they want to quit. So now when we press play, a few seconds to load, you can see now that if I try and hit the red button, I can't quit any longer, but if I use my X, it'll exit the program perfectly. So that's the first thing we really want to do in your setup for this project.